Chosen one, before you listen any further, pause for a moment, because this is not accidental. You didn't click this message by chance. Something inside you felt a pull, a quiet urgency, a sense that this word was meant for now. Take a deep breath, let the noise settle and lean in. If you're here, heaven is already responding to you. And I need you to stay until the end, because what God is revealing about 2026 is not what many expect, but it explains everything you've been walking through. Let me ask you something, and answer honestly in your spirit. Have you felt pressure lifting even though circumstances haven't changed yet? Have you noticed small reversals, things that once blocked you suddenly loosening, people shifting, conversations opening, doors cracking just a little? That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. Heaven is moving in your favor, and God has already marked 2026 as a turning point for you. For a long time, it felt like effort produced little fruit. You prayed, you waited, you obeyed, and still the progress was slow. Some days you questioned whether you heard God correctly at all. But here this clearly delay is not denial, and silence was not absence. God was not ignoring you, He was positioning you. What looked like stagnation was actually separation. He was moving you out of alignment with things that would have damaged you in the next season. Many chosen ones misunderstand this part. They think favor means speed right away. But divine favor often begins with restraint. God slowed you down on purpose. He blocked certain paths because if you had advanced too early, you would have carried the wrong people, the wrong mindset, or the wrong wounds into your future. So He waited, not because He forgot you, but because He was protecting the outcome. If this is resonating, take a moment and acknowledge it quietly. Even typing "I receive this" in your heart matters. Engagement isn't just external, it's spiritual agreement. Now hear what God is saying about 2026. This year is not about struggle for you. It is about alignment. When alignment happens, momentum follows naturally. Things that once required exhausting effort will begin to flow with less resistance. Not because you suddenly became stronger, but because heaven began moving first. God confirms that unseen shifts began before you noticed anything in the natural. Decisions were made behind closed doors. Conversations happened without your name being spoken aloud, yet you were the outcome. Systems are rearranging. Timelines are collapsing. What once took years to build will now take months. What once required convincing will now require discernment, because opportunities will come quickly, and not all of them are meant to be accepted. This is why discernment is critical right now. Favor attracts attention, but wisdom protects destiny. God is moving in your favor, but He's also watching how you respond. Are you rushing or are you listening? Are you desperate or are you anchored? The next season responds to posture more than desire. You may notice that some people who once had access to you are becoming distant. Don't chase them. God is quietly editing your circle. Not everyone who walked with you through survival is meant to stand with you in stability. Some connections were for endurance, not expansion. Releasing them is not betrayal, it's obedience. And yes, this may feel lonely at times. Favor often does. But loneliness in transition is temporary. Isolation is a corridor, not a residence. God steps closer when others step back, and His voice becomes clearer when distractions fade. If you've been sensing a deeper pull toward prayer, reflection, or stillness, that's because heaven is recalibrating your inner world to match what's coming externally. Let me be clear about something important. 2026 is not magic, it is movement. God confirms favor, but favor still responds to faith. You don't force it, you follow it. This means staying obedient in small things, even when no one is watching. It means guarding your words, because what you speak in this season accelerates quickly. Complaints can delay what gratitude unlocks. Watch what happens when you start thanking God in advance, not for what you see, but for what He already confirmed. Gratitude is a signal. It tells heaven you're ready to steward more. Some of you are waiting for one big sign. But God says the signs are already happening, they're just subtle. The peace you suddenly feel after months of anxiety. The clarity replacing confusion. The strength returning where burnout lived. These are not emotional shifts. They are spiritual confirmations. Heaven moves quietly before it moves loudly. Now listen closely. God says 2026 will expose what was hidden, both good and bad. Truth will surface. Masks will fall. And while that may sound unsettling, it is actually protection. You will no longer waste time guessing people's intentions. What you need to know will be revealed without you having to chase answers. This is also a year of restoration, but not in the way you expect. God is not restoring everything you lost. He's replacing what no longer fits. Some doors will remain closed permanently, and that's mercy. What replaces them will match who you've become, not who you were when you first prayed. If you've been feeling like your old life no longer fits, that's because it doesn't. You outgrew it during the waiting season. The version of you that survived is not the same one that will thrive. Pause here for a moment. Reflect. This is where many miss it because they rush to the outcome without honoring the transformation. God confirms that your obedience during hidden seasons has not gone unnoticed. Every time you chose integrity over shortcuts, humility over ego, patience over panic, it was recorded. Is not random. It is accumulated. In 2026, you will notice divine timing at work. Delays will turn into perfect alignment. Missed opportunities will reveal themselves as protection. And sudden openings will make sense only in hindsight. Trust the process even when you don't understand the pace. And let me say this gently but firmly, don't announce everything too early. Some blessings grow best in silence. Not everyone needs access to what God is forming. Let fruit speak for itself. If this message is speaking directly to you, stay engaged. Let your spirit stay open. The more you lean in, the clearer the next steps become. Heaven is not asking you to strive, it's asking you to stay aligned. Keep your heart clean. Keep your focus steady. Keep listening. Because God confirms this clearly, 2026 is not the year you chase favor. It's the year favor finds you. Chosen one, as you continue listening, understand this: what God is confirming now goes deeper than surface level favor. Section 1 revealed that heaven is moving. Now this part explains how to walk correctly while it moves, because favor mishandled can become delay again. Stay with me closely. This is where many miss their moment. God says the next phase of 2026 will require maturity, not just faith. You already proved you can believe. You already proved you can endure. What heaven is watching now is whether you can steward what's coming without returning to old patterns. This is why the pressure you've felt recently hasn't been external, it's been internal. God has been refining reactions, not circumstances. You may have noticed that situations no longer trigger you the way they used to. Or when they do, the conviction comes faster. That's growth. Heaven doesn't pour new wine into old containers, and God has been reshaping you quietly so you won't leak what He releases. This is not punishment. This is preparation. 2026 is a year where alignment determines speed. Two people can receive the same opportunity. One accelerates, the other stalls. The difference won't be talent or prayer volume. It will be obedience in the unseen moments. How you respond when no one applauds. How you speak when you could complain. How you move when God says, wait, even though the door looks open. Yes, some doors will look open that are not God-sent. Favor attracts counterfeits. Not every invitation is instruction. Not every opportunity is assignment. God is sharpening your discernment because what you choose now determines what multiplies later. This is why God has been emphasizing stillness in your spirit, less rushing, less explaining, less proving. When heaven moves in your favor, you don't have to convince anyone. What's for you will recognize you. There's another truth God wants you to hear clearly: you are not late. The enemy tried to convince you that time ran out, that you missed your window, that others passed you by. That was a lie meant to exhaust you emotionally so you'd settle. Divine timing doesn't operate on panic, it operates on precision. What God prepared for you required the version of you that exists now, not the one you were years ago. If it had arrived earlier, you would have mishandled it. If it came later, it wouldn't stretch you. This timing is exact. In 2026, God will begin restoring your confidence, but not arrogance. A quiet confidence. one that doesn't need validation, one that knows when to speak and when to stay silent, one that can walk into rooms without shrinking or dominating. That balance is rare, and it's why favor rests on you. You may also notice a shift in how people treat you. Some will suddenly respect you more. Others will feel uncomfortable around you without knowing why. That's because authority is increasing. Not loud authority, spiritual weight. And weight exposes insecurity in others. Don't personalize it. Stay kind. Stay grounded. Let God handle the rest. God also confirms that finances, resources, or provision will begin responding differently in this season. Not instantly overflowing, but consistently improving. Stability replaces survival. Strategy replaces scrambling. Wisdom replaces impulse. You'll start thinking long-term instead of just making it through the month. That shift alone is a sign of favor. But here's the instruction: don't rush the harvest. Some blessings grow in stages. Pulling too early damages fruit. God says consistency will outperform intensity in 26. Small daily obedience will unlock more than emotional bursts of faith. Relationships will also come under divine review. God will strengthen connections rooted in truth and gently remove those built on convenience or control. You won't have to force distance, it will happen naturally. Conversations will fade, alignment will dissolve, and peace will remain. That's how you'll know it's God. If at times you feel misunderstood, remember this transition often removes language. People who knew the old you won't fully understand the becoming you. That's okay. You're not called to be explained, you're called to be aligned. God says this is also a year of answered prayers you forgot you prayed. Things you released because waiting hurt too much. He didn't forget them. He simply waited until they wouldn't replace him. Now he can release without becoming an idol in your life. Pay attention to your dreams, sudden insights, and repeated confirmations. God is speaking more than you realize. He's guiding steps, not just destinations. Direction matters more than speed right now. One more warning God gives in love: guard your mouth. Words will carry unusual weight in 2026. Speak life, speak wisdom. Speak less when emotions run high. What you say will echo faster than before. Favor amplifies everything, including consequences. And finally, hear this assurance deeply: you are not walking into 2026 alone. Heaven is already ahead of you. God has gone before you, softened resistance, and positioned help you haven't met yet. You will not need to beg, force, or manipulate outcomes. What's yours will come with peace, so stay faithful, stay teachable, stay obedient, because God confirms this without hesitation. Heaven is not just moving around you, it is moving with you.